this time, this evening, we would normally have been in rooms 2, 3, and 4, right down the hallway. But these are not normal times for us, and as a result of that, you know, those were our plans, but you know, God has His plans, and so this plan for tonight is to celebrate our Miss Mississippi Mary Margaret Hyer, and so at this evening we want to do that, and that's the whole purpose of us joining here together. We knew, obviously, with us not being able to have the competition here this week, that we wanted to get together and celebrate this time as a board of directors and as her Miss Mississippi's family and her, to celebrate this time together as we begin another year of service with her. And so if you would, I just wanted to mention as we begin our program this evening, I want to mention the passing away of Dr. W. Biggs Hobson Jr. Dr. Hobson invested his life in this organization for over 40 years. He loved God first and foremost, loved his church, he loved his family, he loved his Miss Mississippi family, and he loved his Miss Mississippis. He loved every one of those Miss Mississippis very dearly, and that came through during the time that he was involved with the competition. And we just want to acknowledge the fact of what he meant to every one of us in this room. We were so blessed to have been a part of his life and having the opportunity to have been around him to gain wisdom and insight and laughter, and just, you know, Dr. Hobson lived a life well lived. And, you know, I know God welcomed him last Saturday night and told him, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant." And we're certainly going to miss Dr. Hobson and certainly appreciate everything that he did. And we're going to have an incredible tribute to him next year when we join together in 2021. A well-deserved tribute to him. But I'd just like for us to take just a few moments of silence in memory of Dr. Hobson. Thank you very much. I have asked our board members to come and say a few remarks concerning Mary Margaret and what she has done for our organization, what she has meant to us individually. And so I've asked our board members to do that. And first I'll start off with her business manager, Karen Jones. Karen spends more time with Miss Mississippi than any of us in this organization, and she certainly develops a relationship with every one of our Miss Mississippis and does such a great job putting them in a position where they're supposed to be, and their duties and responsibilities as they travel our great state. And Karen does a phenomenal job every year, and so I would like Karen to come forward and to start us off with the remarks. And again, she spends so much time in working with our Miss Mississippis and coordinating their schedules and making sure that they're doing their best for our organization, and she just has such a great relationship with every one of our Miss Mississippis. So Karen, we'll let you start off, please.
Thank you, David. Every year during pageant week, as you all know, Mike and I are usually with the judges that week. We orientate them according to the Miss America guidelines. We give them the job description of what Miss America is expected, Miss America and Miss Mississippi. And then our interviews start on that Monday morning. And at that point, when interviews start, is when I start praying very hard. I pray that the judges would choose someone that not only is easy to work with, but that also that people can relate to around the state, because that's very important when she's out there in the community. And during the interviews, we start those on Monday morning, and during the interviews, Mike and I are in another room, and the girls are in another room, and there's the door in between us. And we have a monitor in there with sound, and we can hear them, but we normally don't pay attention to the interviews. We don't sit there and watch them. I'm usually running back and forth, making pictures, and Mike is timing or whatever we're doing. But this last year, when Mary Margaret came in to interview, Mike turned to me and said, "That young lady could be your next Miss Mississippi," and he was right. Three things that you may not know about Mary Margaret. She's very creative. I've learned that I've learned that about her this year. She's very creative. She knows how to post on her social media, and she can also whip out a flyer in about 10 minutes with graphics and everything, so she's very creative. She is also a night owl, as myself, so we can get a lot done from 10 to 12 o'clock at night. Or later. She also has, and I will let her elaborate on this later, she also has a newfound love for animals. She knew I was going to mention this. She loves birds and dogs now, so I'll let her tell you about that. In all seriousness, I'm extremely proud of you, Mary Margaret. Not only how she's handled her appearances this year, but how she handled Miss America last year and how she's handling this coronavirus right now with us not traveling very much. She's handled everything with such grace and poise, and I don't have to worry about her being out there representing us because she's a professional and she knows the task at hand, and so that makes my job a lot easier. We've had a great year last year, and I want to thank Mary Margaret for agreeing to do this another year. So I love her family, and I just look forward to another year with her. Thank y'all.
Hi. I should have written something down, which I generally do. But I'm going to say something that Mary Margaret and I have in common, which we've changed it. I have a platform. She has a social impact initiative, and it's Donate Life, organ and tissue donation. And also, I want to point out, do a shout out to her mother that's a real hero because she was a donor. And so we have that in common. And I was thinking about a t-shirt that one of the former Miss Mississippis had that also had organ and tissue donation as their platform. And it says, being an organ donor can be a crowning achievement. So that's all I really have to say. And if you don't have a little heart on your driver's license, which I oftentimes have to ask people for IDs when they're doing credit cards, and if they have, I always say thank you for having that heart. And when I paint things, or I had to paint a stone with the thing, it says, show me your heart. So, and she has a big heart. Thanks.
Thank you, David, for the opportunity. And hey, Mike, where's my teleprompter? Do I have to do this ad lib? Okay, all right. Thank you all for the opportunity. It's a great honor to be with all of you here today to celebrate Mary Margaret. She's wonderful person, as you all know, and we're very proud of the work that she has done. I was, after she won and we know she did a wonderful job, we started working together with the interviews, and she handled that very well. I was very impressed by her. She's very professional and quick learner, and takes points very well, and she adapts to every situation really well, so I was very surprised with that. And pleasantly surprised, and she's done a wonderful job. I'm also involved with her at the Mississippi Academy of Family Medicine, where I serve as vice president. We have a scholarship for TAR Wars, and she has done a wonderful job. I asked Beth Embry, who is our chairperson, her experience with Mary Margaret, and she was extremely complimentary. And she said that you have done a wonderful job, that we're very lucky to have you, and that we're ecstatic that we get to have you for another year. And I want to thank you for agreeing to continue with us for another year, because I know you have a beautiful career ahead of you, and you postponed that to do this, so thank you. That really means a lot. Another thing that I have enjoyed is getting to know the family. You have a beautiful family, and I love that they're always present, and especially your mom, that you spend a lot of time together traveling. And when I see that, I think of my wife and my daughter, and I value that a lot. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And we had the opportunity to go to Miss America in Connecticut. We had a wonderful time. We We're very proud of you. I thought that you represented us extremely well, and in my opinion, you should have won. But I learned a few things. So we have a few things in common. Her dad, Jerry, and I are both physicians, and we spend a lot of time outside the house working, but we love our family. And then I learned that her granddaddy and I have a love for golf. And I also learned that we're both scientists, so that really made me feel very good.
That's all right.
Yeah. So, no, but what I wanted to say is thank you for what you're doing. You're really making a lot of difference for all of us and for a lot of Mississippians. The TAR Wars have been extremely successful, and part of that is because of you. And even when COVID has affected what we do, you have continued to do a wonderful job. You're always in social media with a very positive message, and we're very, very proud of you, and we're looking forward to another wonderful year with you. Thank you.
I would ask that Johnny Reynolds please come forward. About 25 years ago, you know, Dr. Hobson did a lot of great things for our community and for the Mississippi organization, but one of the best things that he did about 25 years ago was got Johnny Reynolds involved.
That's right.
And I mean, Johnny, year after year, would get a crew put together, and as we, at the auditorium and then here at the convention center, get everything put together as far as the stage and get everything unloaded from the trailers and everything else, moved from the pageant office and our storages, units and everything. And but you know, we're so proud that Johnny is our first black board member of the Miss Mississippi organization, and we're just so proud of him and the relationship that we have developed with Johnny all of these years. I mean, so Doc did well,
He did well.
you know, by bringing you on board with us, and we're just thankful to have you and appreciate everything that you do, because Johnny does a lot of different things for our organization as far as fundraising, and we just appreciate everything that he does. And Johnny, at this time, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
It's all right, brother.
Thank you. All right.
You know, a lot of times, being the first of doing anything for any organization and being proud of doing it, and this is one of the organizations I'm proud to be a part of. I serve on several boards, and I've turned down some of them because I feel like they didn't fit me. But this board here, dealing with, you know, Winky and EARL and sometimes Mike, and I love the women, so, you know, they're okay. You know, Karen and us, we get together. So, you know, when Mary Margaret, and I call, by now I would call her a nickname M&M. And M&M means that if you eat M&Ms, there's a lot of flavors in there. And that's the way Mary Margaret look at things. She has no, you know, a lot of times you see people, they see color or they see different distance. She doesn't. She's, and one thing we do, well, two things we have in common, me and her mom, and so to her, we're tall. We can get some off the top shelf, you know what I mean, and Dad. So that's one thing we do have in common. But by now, I was telling her, I said, you know, coming back from Miss America, and I'd have been riding around with, I do a little security work, you know, I tell her how to run that way, run this, you know. So I told her I didn't get opportunity to spend time with her, but I will, because I am so happy that you chose to go another year to do, to help us, you know what I'm saying, to represent us in all kind of different ways. And that means a lot, during these trying times, doing what's going on with the world today, for you to say, okay, because you could easily say, no, I don't want to deal with it, but you said, okay, I'm proud and I don't mind doing it. And that, coming from me and my community, that means a lot to us. So somebody was asking me, I have this medallion that was made, that we was given to nurses around the world. And it says that, you know, you're not just essential, you are a hero. And I'm gonna get into Mary Margaret, because that's the way I feel. Because with her being a hero for all the kids, for everybody else, that means a lot to us. So I know when you're in the trenches and you have to deal with a lot of things, this means a lot to us, you know what I'm saying? I would like to give that to her.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call on Earl Edris to come forward. Earl's our Executive Secretary, and also, as I mentioned, Dr. LaTorrE is our scholarship chairman and helps raise the money, and so Earl spends the money as, as part of the Mississippi Scholarship Corporation Foundation, our foundation that we distribute the funds, our scholarship funds. So Earl does a lot of duties for our office and does a great job, and Earl, appreciate everything you do, and it's time that you speak now.
All right, when I think of Mary Margaret, I think of somebody who is very flexible, because Miss America this year tried to mess up anything preconceived notions that she had when they had Miss America, because of everything that they were doing, all the changes, everything that was so much different. And she never dropped a lick. She just went right on going, said, this is what we're going to do, and goes on with it. We've had some that would have never been able to do anything. You were outstanding in that regard. Very flexible, being able to get things done and doing the best we can. And really, you should have won Miss America, but that's another story for another day. It's being recorded, so I don't want to talk about science projects. But, you know, and for many years, the girls at this Saturday night dinner would tell a story about how they're going to run off at 10 o'clock and keep the crown and not give it to the next person. We're proud to give it to you for the second year. So, you know, look forward to next year, and we'll continue to do what we've been doing. Thank you.
This time I'd like to call on Winky Freeman to come forward. As y'all know, Winky is the Executive Director of the Miss Mississippi Outstanding Teen Pageant, and then also he's Vice Chairman of our board, and really like a co-executive director with me with the Miss America organization. And Winky has done such a great job with our teen pageant as the director over these years, and certainly we, you know, missed not having it in April, you know, this past April, but we're looking forward to having it again in April of 2021. But Winky does so many things for our organization, and just certainly appreciate his leadership and everything that you do, Winky. Thank you.
Mary Margaret, I had a thought yesterday after Doc's funeral when I saw you, Jennifer, and Becky get in the same vehicle. I said, if you took those three young ladies, put them in a can and shook them up, and every year roll it out, you should win Miss America. Sometimes we don't, but the way I look at it, Miss America's loss is certainly our gain for 2 years now. I asked you to remember one word a little while ago. You remember what it was? It. David asked me to say a few words. Well, I've got 3 for you. You have it. Now, I've seen what does it mean? Well, if you got to sit and define it and think about it, whether you have it or not, you don't have it. But I just wrote a few words down. One is attractiveness. You're certainly a beautiful young lady, not just physically, but in your heart. Another is, I put the word allure, because I've seen you make some little facial things sometime that tells me when you were a child, I bet you were a little mischievous. The next word that came to my mind was appealing. You're always appealing for more, which is an outstanding thing to do. Next is charisma. You have it. You know your way in and how to work a crowd, which is most important. Then charm. Every Southern young lady ought to have that. The next word is another word that's very similar to it. It's class. You really can't define class, but your actions denote that you have it. Mom and Dad, this next one characteristic is y'all's fault. She's got impeccable manners. I've had a lot of the young ladies stay at the house with Debbie and I. She has impeccable manners. which is important in this day and time. I put magnetism down because you can draw in a crowd. You can draw in the little 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 year olds, my granddaughters, you know. That's a great quality. And I put the word magic down. You've got to have some sort of a magic to do this job, because you're going to relate to about 15,000 different sorts of people in Mississippi every year. Another word is giving. What have you given? 1 year as Miss Mississippi, you gave up beginning law school. And now you're going to give us another year, which is great. I put the word beauty down there, and I related to that, to the attractiveness, because certainly there's an inner beauty that Miss Mississippi needs to have. And Mary Margaret, you certainly have that. Next, I put grace. The person that comes to my mind when I think of grace is Jacqueline Kennedy. You could pass for that. And then a word that is, I've never used it in a speech before, but gravitational. You go where there's a need. People gravitate to you. The things you're saying make them want to listen to what you're talking about. You're just not spouting out words. And one of the nicest things, I believe, you don't complain. That's hard to do with a young lady or a young man, but you don't complain. And I think one of the greatest attributes you have is the ability to communicate verbally. These days, that's almost unheard of, you know, with all the social media, but you can actually speak to people and get your point across and don't have to use a brief form. You know, that's nice. And just in closing, you know, this is the beginning of a new day for you. You've been given this day to use as you will. You can waste it, or you can use it for good. That's up to you. What you do today is important because you are exchanging a day of your life for it. When tomorrow comes, today is gone. Hopefully in its place is something that you leave behind and that you're willing to leave it behind, and it is something that is good. And somewhat as a challenge, advance confidently in the direction of your dreams and endeavors to live the life you have imagined. The future is not just someplace you're going to, but it's someplace you're creating. And the paths to it are not found. They are made. You know, follow your passion as long as you can, because that's what's going to drive you in life. And then finally, Mary Margaret is a rare person who comes along and raises the standards of excellence, who captures the hearts of many and inspires a group of individuals to achieve the impossible. Mary Margaret, you are that person. Thank you.
Thank you, Winky, and thank you for all of the board members for sharing your thoughts and remarks concerning Mary Margaret, and I appreciate every one of you doing that. On June 22nd, 2019, which was my birthday actually, we had the final night of competition right down in the exhibit hall here, and you know, God blessed our organization when an outstanding Christian young lady was crowned Miss Mississippi. We're so thankful for that happening for us, because she's such an intelligent, beautiful, and talented young lady, and again, her impeccable character. That has certainly been displayed from the time that we've been with her this entire time since she has been crowned. And we just want to thank her for being the Miss Mississippi that we desire for Miss Mississippi to be. And we're just so thankful for everything that she has done for us, how she has represented us in an exemplary manner as Miss Mississippi throughout our great state. She's also did a great job at Miss America in Connecticut when they had the Miss America competition in December. She represented us so well. And as a result of not winning, we were the ones being blessed by the fact that she was able to come back and be with us and be our Miss Mississippi. And we were so thankful for that and grateful for that, because we knew what a great job she had done prior to the fact of going up to the Miss America competition, and knew that she would continue that when she got back, making an impact and difference in people's lives around our state, whether it be adult events or whether it be at schools around our great state. She went in and made a difference in people's lives, and we knew that she would do that as a board. There was no question based on her performance that she would continue to do that and make a difference in people's lives. And that's what this job is all about, making a difference in people's lives around our great state. And so we were the ones blessed by the fact that she was able to come back and do that. And you know, I know that Karen Jones, our business manager, you know, has been so complimentary about Mary Margaret and her job performance, because Miss Mississippi is a job. It's a full-time job traveling around our state, logging a bunch of miles. I mean, you know, she'll go through 6-7 vehicles per year, you know, and every 6,000 miles. So that's about 30 to 40,000 miles that she travels around our state. So that's a lot of miles logged in. But she just has done a great job for us. And as I said, Karen, you know, has reported back to our board, and everything has been so complimentary at every board meeting, you know, of everything that she has done around in all of her performance around our great state. And you've truly been a blessing to our board and our Miss Mississippi staff. All of our staff love and appreciate you, and thankful to have you as our Miss Mississippi. And again, we're just so appreciative of the fact that you continued on to be with us. You know, as a result of the 2021 Miss America competition being postponed, you were given a decision to make. And that decision was either to come back and be Miss Mississippi, or in August of 2019, go ahead and start law school at Ole Miss. And that's a huge decision to have made, okay? I mean, that's a monumental decision in her life, whether to go ahead and continue in this role that she's in, or either to put it off in law school. So Miss America asked us to contact our state representatives. Once Miss America made the decision to postpone the competition, they said, well, you know, you get with your state title holders and ask them if they would be willing to continue on in their year of service. And so we said, okay, we will do that. So we had a special board meeting that night and went over the conference call that we had with the Miss America representatives and informed the board of what was going on. And so we called Mary Margaret and asked her, you know, if she would be willing to continue on a year of service. And so, you know, being me, I said, Mary Margaret, I want you to think about it and pray about it and talk to your family. Well, there was a very quick prayer answered, okay? But you know, before 10 o'clock that evening, we had a response back from her that she was willing to continue on. But, and I say that seriously from the standpoint that Dr. Ms. Hyer, I certainly appreciate your support in working with her in that decision. I know, you know, with the possibility of it being postponed, maybe y'all had talked about it, which I'm sure you possibly had, but thank y'all for your support in giving her the encouragement and the confidence to go forward, you know, with us, as opposed to going ahead and going to law school. And again, that was quite a commitment to make to us, and we don't take that for granted. And we appreciate the fact that y'all have been so supportive of us, and we thank you as a family. Thank y'all for being so supportive of Mary Margaret in her endeavor as Miss Mississippi, and looking forward to another outstanding year with her. And so again, thank both of you for your support. And as a result of that, that night, our board made a decision to award another $5,000 cash scholarship to Mary Margaret Hyer in addition to the $10,000 scholarship that she had won from last year's competition. And so we felt like as a board that was well deserved, and of her committing to us, and as a result of that commitment to us, we were committing to you. And so thank you and for making that monumental decision in your life, because I mean that's a huge decision. And again, we're just so thankful as a board to have you as our Miss Mississippi, okay? Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce Mayor George Flaggs, the mayor of the city of Vicksburg. Without the support of our great city, Mayor Flaggs and Alderman Mansour and Alderman Mayfield, we just thank them for everything that they have done for us. Since I've been involved in this organization over 7 years, I've never been involved from the standpoint that there has been a mayor that has been more supportive than Mayor George Flaggs Jr. He has been here faithfully to attend the competition. Unless he had to be out of town, he was here. And also the financial support of our city. There's no way we could put on this competition here in Vicksburg without the financial support of our city, and that means so much to us. And again, Mayor, thank you so much for your commitment to our organization. And I know that the mayor understands how important this event is to Vicksburg from an economic and financial standpoint. I know he had an interview a few weeks ago, and again, as a result of us not being here this week, we're looking at a $2.5 to $3 million impact as a result of us unfortunately not being able to be here this week. But Mayor, we're planning on being back strong next year. We're ready to go, and 2021 will be here before we know it. But come June 19th, because I say June 19th because as you well know, that's when people start coming in. The competition is June 23rd through the 26th of 2021, but the mayor knows that people start coming in, and we have 8 days of financial support from all of our people that come in for our competition. So I would like to call on our mayor to come forward this time and say a few remarks, and then he will be presenting Mary Margaret Hyer with her 2020 sash.
Well, thank you and good evening. It's my profound honor to be here this afternoon to witness some. I think I'm right. It'll be the first time that a Miss Mississippi have had the opportunity to be Miss Mississippi back to back. So history record you're in a very good place, and for that we're thankful. But then let me say this too, and to David, it is easy to follow this organization. It is easy to support this organization because of your leadership and your board. And I can say this in watching you and watching a man that I highly respected from the day I met him, Dr. Hobson. He knew what he was doing when he selected you. He molded you in his own image. And we're thankful that he chose you for this position. And he couldn't be a better person than the board. And to this family, let me just say that we thank you for sharing your daughter, because it is a sacrifice when you represent a state or a nation for whatever matter, but it's a sacrifice when you have to be all the places you be. We thank you for allowing your daughter to stay with us another year. We couldn't have found a better person to represent us 2 years. And now to you, Miss Mississippi, let me just say to you, we thank you for making such a great decision. But I'm not surprised that you answer so quickly, because that's who you are. You have demonstrated to us. But what it says to not only this city and this state, that you have an opportunity now to expand on your platform like never before, and to be able to do it like you do it, I think it is an honor. And we thank God that you was Miss Mississippi, and you're going to be Miss Mississippi again, and you're going to be able to expand on your platform, and we say thank you. Now, it is my highest honor and pleasure to be able to place the Sash on our future again, Miss Mississippi, for 2020. And I say this to you, just keep believing in He, the one that sent you, and you're going to always be the phenomenal person that you are. Thanks. Now I present to you Miss Mississippi 2020.
Thank y'all so much. I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, but I probably will. Thank y'all so much for being here. This is more than I ever could have dreamed this night would be. I thought that I would be sad and making jokes about taking it for another year, but no jokes required because that's what's happening. So I never could have imagined on June 22nd of last year that this is what my life would turn out to be, and that is in thanks to every single one of you. I really did not know what I was getting myself into when I entered my first preliminary competition to maybe be Miss Mississippi one day. I was 20 years old, I was a vocal performance major at the time, and I just wanted to be on stage. And I cared about organ donation, so what better way to combine my love of my platform and my talent than to compete at Miss Mississippi and maybe win some scholarship money in the process. But then I fell in love with every single one of you in this program and what it can do for women like me, and I was hooked. And so after 2 years in a row of not making the top 10, I really thought that it just wasn't God's plan for me to be Miss Mississippi. And I had come to terms with the fact that that was just not going to be my life the way that I'd hoped it would be for so many years since I was young. But something told me that I needed to go to the Delta during Thanksgiving week. My family was there, so it worked out perfectly, but there was also a Miss Mississippi preliminary competition there. And on a whim, I decided to enter that third year, and I know that that was a God thing because I had made it up in my mind that it was not His plan for me, but He just told me I needed to try one more time. And then I made the top 10, I made the top 5, and I'm standing in front of you tonight after an incredible year that every single one of you had such a hand in, whether you came to Miss America with me to watch that, we'll talk about the joke after, to watch Miss America in a year that we'd never seen anything like it. We learned so much from it. I made the most wonderful friends, and they are the second best part of my experience as Miss Mississippi because y'all are the first. So whether you came to Miss America, whether you came to the airport to tell me goodbye, whether I've seen you on the road throughout appearances, whether I saw you at orientation, and maybe that was one of the few times I've seen you, every single one of you, whether it's been one encounter or 500 encounters, you've changed my life, and you've shaped me and made me a better person because I know you, and I thank you so much. I thank my family for being willing to go on this 3-year journey with me throughout competing for Miss Mississippi. They sat in that auditorium for, I guess, 12 nights in a row and watched me, whether it was in onstage question or in talent. They did that for 3 years in a row, and it became part of our summer, and that's what we're sad about this summer, is having to miss out on that. And my sister was a princess actually for 2 years, so our history with this program is long, and it feels strange not to be out there right now, but this is just what God's plan was for this year. And actually, Mr. David spoke about how it was such a quick decision to become Miss Mississippi 2020, and that's because, this sounds really crazy, but God had told me months before that was what was going to happen. I texted my friends, Miss Louisiana and Miss Kentucky, they're my best friends from Miss America, and I told them, y'all, this was probably in March, y'all, this is going to get bad and we're not going to have a pageant, and they're going to ask us to stay for a year. And they did not believe me, and they thought I was crazy, but that is what happened, and I think that was God preparing me for such a time as this. He had told me months and months before Mr. David and Miss Karen called me that he was going to ask me to do this, and y'all would extend this opportunity to me, and that's why it was such a quick decision. I think I texted him 20 minutes after that phone call and said, yes, I'll do it. And then I said, wait, Mom, do you want to do this again? because she's in that car just as often as I am. She prints the speeches for me. She makes the edits as well. She steams the clothes. She takes the pictures. She's out in the state of Mississippi and serving the communities as much as I am. But luckily, she said yes, she did want to do it again, just because I'd already committed her to it, whether she liked it or not. So anyway, I love you, Mom. Thank you so much for inspiring my platform work and serving just as much as I do in this wonderful role that we've been given. I think I'm going to cry if I don't wrap it up soon, but I just want to say I'm going to do my best this year. That's all I can give y'all, and that's, I hope, what I've given y'all over this past year. We have certainly hit some bumps along the way, and I don't think any of us ever imagined this could be possible. I was watching Maggie Wade's show that she put together to air during our TV time tonight, and somebody mentioned that even World War II didn't stop Miss Mississippi, but coronavirus did. So we're gonna do with it what we can and continue to do the very best to serve Mississippi and be a light for Mississippi and encourage more women like me to get involved in the Miss Mississippi Corporation and the pageant that we have every summer, because it changes lives. And I'm the perfect example of that. And now I'll have 2 years of life-changing experiences, and I can't even imagine what this next year is going to look like, but we'll all find out together. So thank y'all so much. This is such an honor. I love every single one of you.
Mary Margaret, certainly it's going to be our pleasure and honor to work with you for this coming year as Miss Mississippi. And again, we're just thankful that God had a plan, and that plan was for you to be with us another year. And we could not have asked for a better person from a character standpoint to work with us and to represent our state again for another year. And so as a board, we're all very proud and elated and just thankful that you're going to be in our lives and part of our Miss Mississippi family for the coming year. So God bless you, and we're looking forward to a great year. Thank you, and this concludes our ceremony for this evening, and thank y'all again for being with us.
Getting to be the ambassador for Children's of Mississippi has been the biggest highlight of my Miss Mississippi year one. It's just such an honor to get to wear this crown and go see those kids and try and make a bright spot in their day that sometimes can be full of injections and nurses and things that aren't super fun for a kid. So it's great to go play with them, color with them for an hour. It's my favorite part of my job.
Tell us a little bit about your family and your background.
Well, I'm living with my family. Again, I'm 24 years old and hadn't lived with them since I was 18, but I'm back at home now because my mother's my traveling companion. So not only has this year been so rewarding for me, but it's been great to be back at home with my family and get to make so many memories this year together.
What has the scholarship money meant for you?
Well, I will actually be pursuing my law degree next fall, and because of the Miss Mississippi scholarships I've earned, I'll graduate debt-free, which is something I never dreamed possible from my graduate school experience. So this program has changed my life in more ways than one, but scholarship money has been a big part of that.
Why did you select the law for a career?
Well, I wanted to do something where I was making a difference in somebody's life every single day I went to work. I wanted to do something I loved and something where I could interact with the public. So I'm hoping to pursue a law degree so that I can then pursue a career in policy or justice or something like that. That's the plan.
You're unique among the Miss Mississippians because you are going to be a Miss Mississippi for 2 years. Tell us your feeling about that.
Well, I could not believe my luck and how lucky I was to have won the year that I did. Of course, it's a terrible circumstance, this pandemic, and the reason that I'll be Miss Mississippi for 2 years, but what a privilege to serve this state and continue to try and make an impact through my social impact initiative of organ and tissue donation. It's just such a blessing and something I never dreamed possible, but something I'm ready for.
What role have you played in educating the public about the dangers of COVID here in Mississippi?
Well, one of the things I've tried to be good about is being a good example and wearing a mask everywhere I go, whether that's on the job as Miss Mississippi or just going to Target to pick up a few things that I need. Wearing a mask is so important right now. Hand washing is so important right now, and I've tried to relay that on my social media and through my personal example as well.